But as I was saying, I want to tell you a story, a true story about me. And I'm sure many men and women of God almost got the same story in some form or fashion. You know, he said, I know my sheep, they follow me, I call my sheep by name. Years ago, I was living for the world. I was raised in the church, but I started kind of self-worship, putting myself on a pedestal. And then I was married to a pagan woman, and she was like, there are many saviors. I'm like, you might be right and all this. I started kind of distancing myself from the one faith. And I started going through hell and high water, seeing demons, hearing demons, being snatched out of bed by demons, witchcraft going all over my house. And I'm just asking, oh, why is this going on in my life and stuff like that? It seemed common sense, but not when you're going through it. It don't seem like common sense to you. But I called on Jesus, and he answered me. And I asked him, why am I going through this? And he said my name. He said, Houston, look at the bookshelf in your bedroom. And it was full of witchcraft and sorcery. The reason I'm telling you this, because he told me the issue. I didn't go to church, but me, being a beginner, was like, okay, I need to go to church. I need to go to church. So I went to church. I finally rushed away from where I was staying and went back to my hometown of Mobile, Alabama. And I went to church that Sunday. I ain't gonna tell you the whole story. I'm just fast forwarding through it. And the pastor was there. And the pastor was talking about so many people being vexed with witchcraft and sorcery. And then God gave me the word after that. But think about this. And I just started coming to realize this. He told me what the issue was before I even went to the church. Did you catch that? He told me what the issue was. But me being a beginner, how can you hear without a pastor? Makes sense. So after that, I started reading constantly. It's like he told me, eat this book. So I started reading, eating. And well, check this out. I was like, Lord, what do you want me to do, man? Go back to what a witchcraft is. He didn't say go to a pastor. He said, go back. I equip you with this Bible. Go back. And I remember telling my family members, they'd be like, why are you going back there? You know what you're facing now. I got to go back. Be like, you going back with witchcraft? Yeah. So I went back. I wonder who told me that. The pastor did? No, he told me. I tell people, when you come into the flock, God ain't making us cowards. He didn't give us a spirit of fear to fear. He came to conquer fear. But me still being a rookie, I got kind of like, Lord, lead me to a church. I need a church home. Because that's what everybody tell you. When you come up there, the first thing the pastor says is, now join you a local church and make sure you commune with one another and join somebody. All right, so I was following instructions. So I found a church. And all I was hearing was the same thing I was reading. Like, it was so on point. Like, I read something that morning, and then I go to church, they'll be talking about the same thing. And it happened so many times in my life. So I started coming to the realization, if God's telling me this, why do I need them? If he's telling me the same exact story over and over again to me. And I even tried to go to the churches to get demons cast out, because I still fight demons and devils and witches. And I remember I asked one pastor to come to the pastor of the church I had joined, asked them to come to my house and pray for my house. And he was like, I never did that before. All right. Wow, you've been preaching that long? You never went to somebody's house and prayed over their house? And a lot of things like that happen in my life. Like, it's like they don't even know what they're supposed to be doing. So over the years, I was like, man, I got to do this on my own with Jesus' help. I started figuring out nobody know you better than the Lord does. But it all makes sense. If I put the pieces together, I asked the Lord for help. He showed me what the issue was, and he gave me the word of life. I remember one battle, and this didn't happen because of the church. I was studying real hard at this time. And I was reading about the people that had all these familiar art books. They brought them to the disciples and they burned them. And it was worth so many pieces of silver. And I told my ex-wife, she wasn't my wife yet, but I told her, I'm like, hey, man, I've been reading, man. I was like, you need to get rid of these books. And the Spirit was moving hard around this time in my life. And I got her to burn every witchcraft book that was in her house. And I know that was all God. But if I look back at it, God sent me back to try to get my house in order on my own with his help. I tried the church. I've tried the churches now. Even when I wasn't going to church on an everyday basis, God still led me and God still protected me. There have been so many situations that God has gotten me out of when I didn't have a church home. But the thing is, I do have a church home. It just ain't here. You do have a church home. It just ain't here. This is not your home. This is temporary. So why do I need to find a church home here? The people don't understand what I'm saying. I'm not against the whole idea of a building. But I think the building then forgot what it's all about. You're not trying to keep building a big building so people can come to you every Sunday. No healing, no nothing. Just keep coming to you. I believe the church is designed to make other church members. He's already give you, there's no man that has left home or child or wife or anybody for my name's sake that will not receive in the life to come, eternal life, and in this life 100-fold in houses. Now, what I come to realize, God said don't join house to house, first of all. So what is he talking about 100-fold in houses? You're going to gain followers. Once that house becomes Christ, that's a church. Once that house gives their life to Christ, that's a church. Once that house, do you understand? He said, you shall not join house to house. So I knew I couldn't think from a material perspective. Oh, God's going to give me 100 houses. He says, it's my good pleasure that you bear much fruit. What's the fruit? Gathering people to Christ. Pray that you send laborers in the harvest to do what? Gather people to me? To gather people to a building? Or to gather people to Christ? Once you realize what it's all about, your perspective change. And people look at you like you're crazy. Like, why? I got a church home. I need it. Look at me. And look at you. And will not listen to any man. That sounds very prideful and boastful, don't it? Like, I ain't got to listen to you. Sound like something wrong with me, don't it? I ain't got to listen to other pastors. Sound like something wrong with me by saying that. I know. When you say it to anybody, it feel like something wrong. The majority of the world thinks something wrong with you. Oh, God gave you the word. God talks to you. Yes, he does. He talks to you too. But you still trying to get a message from the pastor. I hear people out say, I can't wait to hear from the Lord Sunday. Who the hell you hearing from for the rest of the week? Who's directing your path Monday through Saturday? Who's telling you something? Who's telling you don't turn left, turn right? You calling your pastor all day? Like, hey, pastor, what you want me to do? I got to get some groceries today. What kind of groceries should I buy? Pastor. My sheep know my voice. You see, it's like the new age of teaching is, you don't need a personal relationship with God. You need us. You need the church. No. We are the church. We are becoming the church. And we need Jesus. Do you understand? Why do you think the disciples left everything? Jesus was like, oh, follow me. Now go talk to the Pharisees. Go be under the scribes. They stepped in a whole new mission that was unheard of in that time period. Because most people, and I think over the years, this ain't just happened when Jesus, he said there was Antichrist going on then. If you read the book of Judges, they were setting up churches on every street corner, or buildings and synagogues and temples, how they wanted it, doing things that they pleased. This has happened over time. Everybody want to come to a house and worship. He said, my people are going to worship me in spirit and truth. And if you can read the New Testament through and through, back to back, 2 weeks straight, just keep reading the New Testament. You're never going to see God give authority or tell his disciples or the disciples or the apostles tell other people to build buildings. He said, don't forsake the assembly. But it's easy not to forsake the assembly. But two are joined together in my name, I will be in the midst of them. Right? I don't understand. We're reading the same Bible. Why are we getting different messages? But I'm asking you a question. Where does it say that at? Don't forsake the assembly. That's what every building use. I guess you got to be a part of something to be a part of Christ. That's why I like the Old Testament, too. Because there was a lot of solo missions going on. Abraham, solo. God with him. Isaac, solo. God with him. Samson, solo. David was solo with help. Solo. And every once in a while, he'll give you a helpmate. And every once in a while, he'll be like, your helpmate ain't nothing. Get away from her. Yes, we have a divine order. But he said in the last days, he said, those that you are married, it's probably best to be that if you work. You know that? And I understand why he say that. Because sometimes when the Spirit of God start leading you, some people are not going to understand. And your love for God can be like, you know what? I ain't got to have a husband, women. I ain't got to have a wife, men. I just need Jesus. It's like the zeal for the kingdom is eating you up so much. You're like, well, I don't need nothing. I don't need nobody. God is my help. He is my provider. I don't need no scratch my back, you scratch yours. When Paul and them was bound up in prison, the church didn't come get them out. The church didn't come loose the bands. Help came from on high. Led him out. So it's a ghost. It's his spirit. No, that is Peter. And guess what they were doing? They were together in one accord at somebody's house praying for Peter. Prayers go up, help comes down. But a new age, they'd be like, that wasn't church. In the upper room, that ain't church. Like I said, I think church, over time, the building church, has distorted the gospel. They want a big congregation. They want a big church. They want a name of renown. If you read the Old Testament, they never sought to glorify themselves or a building. Think about when Jesus talking about, when the Lord talks about the temple he gave Solomon to build. He said, thieves broke in and stole them. You even to break in my house. That was just a model. But think about how many times It was ransacked. You think God would let his house be ransacked? What happened when he found out some people was trying to rebel? He kicked them straight out. You know, I even watched movies. They be like, everything was still standing, but the church, everything was knocked down, but the church was still there. And what that's supposed to mean? Glory be to God. Glory be to God. Maybe that one church was doing right. What about all the other churches that got towed down? What about them? Why did he choose that one to let it remain after the tornado, when all the other ones were stripped to the very foundation, tore up? If these houses were the house of the Lord, when hurricanes and tornadoes come, they would be unaffected. If they were so spirit-filled. Like I tell people, man, I'm not trying to run you away from a building. I'm trying to run you to Christ. And I believe it starts with a pastor, somewhat. You won't really know much, but everybody's different. You don't really know much. But how long must you be under somebody else? He said, some of you should be teachers by now. But you need somebody to teach you again. It's like when you go to college, right? You're going to college to be a doctor. You understand? You're going to college to be a doctor. And you got teachers there that teach you how to become a doctor. They read from a book. They give you things to do and how to do them. And then school's over. Class is in session when you go out there and start doing it. You don't hear people going back to their college professors every Sunday, every Friday, calling it they're learning on their own. Nurses, brick masons, all of them. Yes, we can learn from one another. Don't get me wrong, but we don't have to follow one another. Let's take the moving industry. Let me give you an example. I'm a mover, right? I move furniture. People want their household goods moved from Alabama to California. They call places like where I work, and they come in there and we pack that stuff up. But when I first started, I was under someone because I didn't know what to do. Then over time, the boss was like, well, you're going to handle this job. And guess what my boss said? On another job. And after so long, I went from going out in the field to working in the office and managing the warehouse. And guess what? I can still learn, but I got people there that know what to do. They don't even need me no more. Like every once in a while, like we'll get a big major job. I'd be like, man, I'm just gonna write up that check on them. Not to tell them what to do, just to check on them. Just be like, hey, what you doing? Oh, this is what we're doing now. Okay, then I'm out of here. 5 minutes, I'm gone. Because they know what they're doing. You don't need me anymore. And that's how I think the gospel is supposed to be taught. You don't need me no more. You can watch my videos that God compelled me to put out, but eventually you'll be like, okay, I know how this works. God is talking with me now. That don't mean you can't call and check on me. How you doing? Or, hey, I ain't seen you in a while. But it's like, Pastor, like, I ain't seen you this Sunday. You ain't got to see me. You ain't got to see me. You ain't got to see everybody that give their life to God every Sunday. But according to them, you do. You know why? Because you're giving your life to their church. to their building. They want the credit. They want the acknowledgement. I'm drawing people to me. And if you don't see it, I'm not saying all, but I believe about 98%. I'm not saying all, but I believe like 98%. What about 95%? I don't know. That's just my guesstimate. That's what most of them want. For you to build their house, help them make a name for themselves. You know, it's crazy. But you got to think about that. Like, you missed the word today. How you know that? How you know that person didn't get up that morning, seek God, read from his Bible, prayed, asked God what he wanted him to do? Like over the weekend, I told people last week, I've been getting an invite to this church. I still ain't went yet. I didn't go this weekend. I believe if I was compelled to go, I would have went. But let's put it this way. There's going to come points in your life, and I think God intended it for it to be this way, that some things in your life are not going to be handled but by God himself. You know what? That builds your trust up with God. We don't live by this, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. He said, don't give till you expect to receive something in return. Did he say that? But that's kind of like what the church is modeled after. We take care of one another. What about everybody else? It's turned into a business. You got to pay the treasurer. You got to pay the band. Look how much stuff goes into running a building. And y'all, they ain't never satisfied. Hey, we get a bigger congregation. Let's get a bigger church. Let's get more people we got to pay. And more. I don't get it. People should be stepping into their mission. And I don't think their mission, the majority, is to follow man. Like I said, it's not normal for a man to constantly lean on another man for spiritual growth. They all should know me, from the leaders to the greatest. And then it's weird because you be like, well, I know God. I got a personal relationship with God. No, you don't. Well, the Bible says all shall know me. And you said I'm a liar because I feel that I got a personal relationship with God because I don't come here. Can I tell you something else that's happened? I wasn't part of a church home or nothing. I was going through spiritual warfare at another house. All hell breaking loose. I remember I was sitting outside, drinking me some Crown Apple, smoking my cigarettes and drinking beer by the fire. That's one thing I like to spend. I used to spend a lot of time outside by the fire. And I was just sitting there and I was calling out to the Lord. I was like, Lord, I need help. I need help now. Mm-hmm. And guess what? I started hearing an intercom go off. An intercom. Right? I'm like, what is that noise? Some said, get up and go see. So I started walking towards the intercom. It was a trailer park on the corner. And there was a pastor out there preaching. And I asked the pastor to pray for me. And then the pastor proceeded to say, hey, you mind if I have church at your house in a few days? So he came. He had church at my house. And he said, you mind if I have baptism at your house? A few days later, he brought the baptism booth. Baptism. And you know, I went to that church one time to see how it was. And I never went back. But God brought the church straight to me. Did you get it? He brought people to me. And I never saw him again. God is a present help in a time of need. They didn't have to keep coming to me. God is sending you help in so many forms of fashion. But I always tell people, like, if we're trying to prepare for the end times, we're trying to get people ready for the end times, tell me how investing in a multi-million-dollar building is preparing people for the end times. They say the mark of the beast come down. How they gonna pay their tithes? How they gonna pay the power bill? How they gonna pay the water bill? He said, you can't buy or sell. I know you think God is my provider. We'll see who their God is then. So my goal is to get people prepared. Get close with God on your own. Because there's going to come a time when these buildings are going to become synagogues of Satan. And many people are going to listen to them. Many people are going to follow them. Many people are going to receive the mark. We'll see who the real is then. I hope I'm not around. I hope you're not around. But this is the thing. Some of them are already the synagogue of Satan. Yesterday I was reading. And I went to Revelations. God said, read Revelations chapter 3. The first one was like, I don't see your works ready. But then the second one was like, I give you the keys. He said, I will make those that call themselves Jews, who are not Jews, who are of the synagogue of Satan, come and bow down before your feet. And know that I'm with you, but I'm not with them. And when I hear that, cause think about this. They say they are Jews. Whatever it means, they say they are Christian. They say they are followers of Christ, but they're actually following Satan. He said, I make them come to you. Ain't that kind of strange? That these people that claim they Jews and claim they men and women of God, he's gonna make them come to you and bow down at your feet. Ain't that wild? And he was talking to the churches. And in that one, he was talking to singular. Make them come to you. You. All those ones that everybody claim ain't nothing. It's good to be tried and unafraid of man, just like your father and his son was. I told you people, I'm not against these buildings. They're everywhere. Everywhere you turn. Every street corner. Playing the harlot. And this area is this wasn't a bad area of town. And there's so many churches over here. So many. I don't understand. It's kind of weird. And there's churches on every street corner. Everybody who feel they've been led by God feel they got to build a building. To me, the primary focus that I get out of the Bible is home. Get your house in order. Your house. And the thing is, there are no perfect houses on here. There's no perfect churches on here. But there can be a perfected house. I love God, people. And I know y'all do too. I don't want you to follow me. And I'm being honest with that. You know, every once in a while, a thumbs up or like, keep going is something we all need. And I thank y'all, the ones that do that. Not because I need praise, I just need confirmation. Hey, am I doing the right thing? All it takes is one. He said a living leaven leavens the whole lump. But guess what? A one confirmation can keep somebody going for the rest of their life or for another week. And I appreciate y'all for that. The few people that do watch the videos that God compelled me to put on. Because there's a lot of people that want me to quit. I know it is. Why are you doing this? Go back to church. And I believe the devil is trying to lead me back. And the people, that don't even sound right now. The devil's trying to lead me back to a building, to be brought under bondage again. You know where a lot of people, a lot of buildings are searching for people like you? Not because you're filled with the Holy Spirit, but because you can bring their building back to life for the wrong reason. And then when you put you in there, cross land and sea to make one price light and make him more of a child of hell than himself. They want to put you in there. You got it. You got what it takes. Then they're going to start conforming you to their image, to how they want things done. And all the things you've been taught. But some of y'all are going to, like our brother in Christ said, he was like, he will replace their pastors with his pastors. I believe there's that's going on too. God are putting the right men and women in place that's going to do it the right way. But I don't think it's going to be a lot. Because you can think about it. He said the whole world lies in the sway of the evil one. And he said we're going to be hated. And if a church was really incorporating God's words and God's true ways in there, it wouldn't be a loved church. It wouldn't be a church that people are like, I got to go there. According to the world, according to the word. Like, I got to go here. If you are operating honesty and truth, you're going to start being hated, not loved. But you know how we look at it now? The more the people love you, the better you're doing. Not according to scripture. The more the people hate you, the better you're doing for Christ. The more they cast out your name as evil, the better you're doing for Christ. People ain't supposed to be praising you as a follower of Christ. It's supposed to be praising God. People are so bandwagon jumpers, it gets on my nerves. They hear a sermon from somebody, I ain't never heard it preached like this before. I'm like, what are you talking about? Really? Really? The word speaks for itself. You just got different ways people preach. That's it. It speaks for itself. I know my sheep. My sheep know my voice, and my sheep follow me. And then, like I said, when you tell people that, I follow God. I don't need you. What? Yes, you do. Wow, boy. How readest thou? How did you come to that revelation that I need you? Maybe you want me to need you. I don't know. Maybe people want confirmation from man, like recognition from man, and let them know they're doing good. A bunch of pats on the back. Like I said, hey man, keep it up. Very simple. But you ain't got to follow me. You don't. Represent Christ in your life. If you need prayer, I do. A lot of things going on in my life that don't make sense. But I trust God. But I still need prayer. And guess what? I'm asking. Pray for me. And if you haven't accepted Christ in your life, I advise you to do so. Start the process. Think about it. One of y'all, one of me, praying is good enough. More, better, great. But we're not saved by multitude. We're saved by grace and through faith. Have a blessed day.